Hey guys, how's it going? I wanted to make a quick video again on my Samsung Galaxy Watch. I've had an issue where the glass backing which goes over the heart rate monitor has unfortunately come apart from the body. I think originally it's glued and pressed in, but unfortunately that glue has just melted away over the years and from some use. And I wanted to make a quick video on how I'm going to repair this so that hopefully you can follow along and do it yourself. Apparently it is a relatively common issue that has happened many times to a lot of people, so just wanted to make a guide going through that. So in terms of the tools that I'm going to be using, I've got a pair of needle nose pliers which might help get some of the stuck glue out of there. If you are replacing a broken back glass, it might be helpful to also pick some of that out. You can also use a razor blade, just wear some glasses if you are. I've got 70% isopropyl alcohol for helping get that glue out, which I will also use some Q-tips to help with. In terms of the glue that I'm going to be using, I'm going to be using this E6000 transparent bonding glue. It's supposed to make a really good seal and then also help with waterproofing. I did some reading online and found that people were using super glue, but I'm not really too sure how well of a bond that will have with being waterproof. Underneath the cap it does have like a needle dispenser, but just in case it doesn't get as close as I would like it, I have a small syringe dispenser that I can put some of that glue in and make it a little bit finer for where I'm dispensing it inside of the case. So these are just the tools that I'm going to be using. You might have other things or things that might be slightly different, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning up this back piece so that I can get it prepped and ready to put the back cover back on. So I'm just going to get started and go ahead and clean some of these parts up a little bit. This back is covered in a fair amount of glue. Okay, and I've got that nice and clean now. I'll work on the watch body itself. So isopropyl alcohol is generally safe for electronics. You might not want to necessarily pour it all over the device, but dabbing it onto a paper towel and then gently wiping it off, I think in this instance should be okay. So I'm just going to slowly start working on that. If it wasn't obvious before, you should power down your device just so that you don't have anything actively getting power or the heart rate sensor going off. So I have mine turned off for this. I'm just going to go ahead and clean up this as best as I can. We want to make sure that we get a very clean application of the glue on the inside. Okay, so something I actually found out real quick that I wanted to show. The back area here, underneath that piece of glass, there is a piece of like rubber sticky pad that I noticed that places kind of as a spacer between the sensors underneath and the case shell itself. So if that is still present, you want to keep that intact and keep that in there. It will remain sticky because that's what was sticking to your piece of glass. So you will not be able to get all of that sticky off. You should let a little bit of that there. But if you have any large pieces of glue or chunks in there, you should work to try and get those pieces out because it will prevent a good seal from being made around this area. So just wanted to highlight that. Okay, and then whether you use E6000 or some other form of glue, you want to read the instructions. For example, mine says to test around the area, apply directly to the area, and then allow it to cure for 24 hours. And then maximum bond strength is achieved after 72 hours. So what I will actually do is after I place this on top with a thin, very thin bead of glue around the outside, I will take my clamp and some coins and I will clamp this thing down with just enough pressure that it's going to hold those two pieces together. I don't want to be squeezing it or cause any risk of cracking anything. And then I will come back in 24 hours, take a look, and then I will trim off any excess, put the clamp back on for another 72 hours or 48 hours, and then I will take a look at how everything looks. Okay, now I'm going to get ready to put some of this glue in. Oh. I'm going to try to use this as sparingly as possible and keep it away from the sensors. So much for sparingly. Okay, so that's after getting that plate back in and getting some of the glue on. I do, under one of the sensors down here, have a little bit of glue peeking out from underneath. I'm hoping that it will dry nice and clear. So like the instructions say, I'm going to kind of secure it together with a clamp, and then I will be back to look at it in 24 hours. Also, I just wanted to quickly test to make sure that the heart rate function was working. So I quick turned it back on, make sure that that was working. And I can confirm that that heart rate sensor, is now still working correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and clamp this back together. Okay, going to let that sit in the clamp for 24 hours, and then I will check on it again. All right, so I've got it back together. I let this dry for actually probably around maybe 96 hours, a little longer than I probably had to. As you can see right there, again, the heart rate monitor portion does turn back on, so that's a really good sign that I didn't damage anything. If I was to do this again, I probably would pay a little bit more attention to getting glue around the outside ring. I think I did do a good job, but just in case you're doing this again, just be cognizant that you want to make sure you get a good seal around this area, around the ring, because that's where you're going to get your water sealing from. I will now probably wear this for a couple weeks and then put it through some paces, get it to a couple different environments like water, rain, sleeping, make sure everything still works with it, and then I'll do a quick cut and you should see what my thoughts are. So, see you soon. Hey guys, how's it going? Just doing a quick follow-up video about 2 or 3 weeks later after doing the repair to the back glass on my Galaxy Watch to try and make sure it still has waterproofing. I have taken it in the shower, I've taken it in the pool, been out when it's very hot out, been out when it's very cold, and I've slept, taken naps, all sorts of activities where I would be testing it for its heart rate tracking and sleep tracking and all that stuff, and I can happily report I haven't had any issues. If I was to do it again, I would just be very cognizant of making sure I got a really good seal around the outside of the glass. I'm not saying I did a bad job, but can't hurt to make sure you have a good seal. Also, if you're just opening up a fresh tube of the glue, make sure you give it some time to do that initial seep out from the end to make sure that it stops free flowing so that you're not dumping a bunch of glue in the back of your watch. I am pretty satisfied with the repair. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's trying to extend the life of their watch. I know Samsung has stopped doing some of the warranties on these watches, especially if you've had it for a very, very long time, or it's just extremely expensive. So there is a repair kit that I've seen on Amazon that has the replacement glass as well as that foam piece in the back. And just be mindful that if you do buy that kit expecting it to be waterproof, I would highly doubt that it actually is, and you probably are going to want to put some sort of like a sealant glue in there. So follow the steps in this video, take your time, make sure everything is clean, use some common sense, and you guys should be okay. I hope this video helped you repair your Galaxy Watch, and if it did, like, subscribe, all that stuff just to make me feel better. Thanks guys, take it easy.